for the next 10 days. She is Sanita Jani Vyas. I may request all of you to kindly put your systems on mute. Thank you. Sanita ji has pursued her BA in Sanskrit from Sri Somnath Sanskrit University, Masters in Sanskrit and Lexicography from Deccan College, Pune, and B.Ed from Tilak College of Education, again in Pune. During her bachelor's, she had joined Sanskrit Bharati. She has diploma in Sanskrit teaching, Bhakti literature, and Vastu Shastra. She holds a postgraduate diploma in Sanskrit linguistics. Interestingly, languages have always fascinated her since she started learning Sanskrit. This made her even the other languages like German from Goethe Institute, Pune. She has written many research articles, presented papers in state, national, and international seminars. She wrote a dissertation, that's a research thesis, on the philosophical concepts of Madhura Bhakti, and she has also done her internship at IIIT Hyderabad on a translational tool. This is a very brief introduction, though her introduction is very vast, but to cut it short, I have inculcated the major points. And before we begin, I also have the responsibility, since this is the first time we are meeting, and most of you are not aware about uh, what is Think India. When I got the inquiries uh, about what we are, how we work, where we work, what is our reach and all. So there's a little brief introduction I would like to give to everyone. So it's like we at Think India, we have felt the need to bind the students with the Indian nationalistic string to harness this part of national treasure in furthering our aim of national reconstruction. And students from ISC Bangalore, IM Bangalore, NIMHANS, National University Bangalore, they joined together to create a joint forum for students from premier institutions in India in 2006. So the major reason was that there is not even 0.1% of student population which is in these institutions. But when they come out of these institutions and when they are into the mainstream, they are the major people who make policies for the public. They are the major decision making people. So they should have this idea of nation first, this idea of keeping service before self. And that is how this is the major notion and major vision and mission of Think India. Apart from this, we have a lot of other activities which we conduct in Think India. Activities, we have like study circles in most of the institutes where we work. We very regularly organize talks, seminars, and most of the conferences and all. We have around 8 kinds of internships and fellowship. Anubhuti was the first internship which was a kind of a social internship. It has we collaborate with the different NGOs where we send our interns and they work with them. They learn. They see how actually the people who are working with for the upliftment of the needy, for the upliftment of the poor, for the upliftment of village areas, they are working. So there's another very important internship, NEETI, that is a policy making internship where we send our interns to policy making institutions which are directly or indirectly helping the government to formulate policies on different matters like education, finance, even defense and commerce. Then we have Sansadiya internship where we send our students, where we send our participants to with MPs and ministers in the parliament, and they learn how the parliament as a whole, either in Rajya Sabha or in Lok Sabha works, how the bills are drafted, how a question is put in parliament, how answers are given to those, and those kinds of things. Vidhi is a very important and very most known, most popular internship of ours, which is a legal internship where we send the law students with the very eminent judges and as well as the lawyers of Supreme Court and High Court. They spend time for almost a month with them and learn the criticalities of law, even from the very first year and second year of their college. Then we have Aram, which is or Shuruat, which is basically a startup internship, and Samvad, which is a journalism internship. You can go to our website and you can find link You can find more details about it. And whenever you have any doubt, you can contact us through Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, mail ID, my phone number. Anyhow, we are always just a call away. And other than that, we have many flagship events. NIT conference, which was organized by Think India Gujarat team itself last year for the first time, where many eminent personalities like DRDO Chief Satish Reddy ji, GVC Rajan ji, and many others, Nitin Gadkari ji, had given their keynote speeches. Jagrati is being organized. This is a conference jointly organized by IIC Bangalore Students Council and Think India National Team. This was the fourth time in January 24, 25, 24th and 25th of January. This year, Jagrati was organized. Avhan is another conference which is organized by IIT Delhi Student Council and Think India team. Youth Fest at MNIT Jaipur, we give contributions. Law summits in Delhi team organizes. So these are all the kinds of major events, flagship events, which we organize year around. And we also send youth delegations to different countries and interstate youth delegations like SEAL program we are organizing. So all these kinds of information, you can go visit our website and you can get these informations about. I think this is uh, a lot about Think India. Now we shall begin with what we are here for. Before that, I have already introduced Sanita ji to you. This online course, description. Sanita ji will be giving you all about what will be the structure of the course, what will be the duration of the course and all. But this course not only gives a brief idea about Sanskrit and its different aspects, but it also highlights the peculiarities of Sanskrit in all other languages. Like we'll be having examples from Gujarati and Marathi and various other streams. This course also intends to give basic training on spoken Sanskrit, which is the main aim. The Sanskrit language gives you a better understanding of the pronunciation, and that is why we are having this on Google Meet. We could have sent you the PDFs of the information, but we wanted you to be there live, listen to us, listen to Sanita ji. It can improve our mother tongue as well and make us understand the deeper meaning of each and every word, which we tend to use every day, but we are not much aware about. It can also be helpful in learning other Indian and non-Indian languages. And I think I have spoken a lot. I request Sanita ji to begin. Before that, just two announcements I would like to make. Please make sure that your systems are on mute mode. And second, if you have any question in between, you can raise it at any point of time, but not through your mic. Type those questions in chat box and put them there. All those questions will be answered either at the end of the session, or if they remain unanswered, we will send you their responses through email. So please do not interrupt in between and do not put your systems and do not unmute your systems. Just post your questions, post your queries on chat box. Thank you very much. And I am Anshul Gautam. I am currently holding the responsibility of State Convener of Think India Gujarat. I now request Sanita ji to kindly proceed.
Ji. Namaste. Namaste to everyone. Before starting, I would like to start with Saraswati Vandana, and then we'll go ahead. या कुन्देन्दु तुषारहार धवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रावृता या वीणावरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेतपद्मासना या ब्रह्माच्युतशङ्करः प्रभृतिभिर्देवैः सदा वन्दिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेषजाड्यापहा. Good morning to one and all present here.
Good morning, ma'am.
Yeah. So, yes. We'll start. Sanskrit is an ancient language, as we all know, and in this course we are going to focus on s- uh, specifically on Sanskrit as a spoken language, that is spoken Sanskrit. And first we'll see the structure of the course. We are going to cover these topics as you all can see on the screen. Introduction to Sanskrit language and its literature. The second one is Sanskrit, mother language of all the languages. Sanskrit and German, relation and research. Sanskrit and philosophy. Sanskrit shlokas and its relevance. Sanskrit dictionaries and science in Sanskrit. Okay, so these topics today we are going to see introduction to Sanskrit as a language and its literature. Now, the second thing which and the most important thing which we are going to see is spoken Sanskrit. Spoken Sanskrit, we will cover the basic Sanskrit only, which we can use it by to speak, and we will not have any grammatical concepts as such. Because grammatical when we talk about Sanskrit grammatical concepts, they are very deep and it takes a lot of time to understand, and for understanding grammar 10 days are not enough. So for now we'll be focusing on spoken Sanskrit only. After the course, after the class, each day we will be sending you worksheets, and in the evening we'll be sending you the answer keys for the same, which will help you to see whether the worksheet you have solved is correct or not. And if any one of you has any doubt, we can discuss it in the next class. We will be sending the worksheets from tomorrow after our first spoken Sanskrit. Also, I would like to add one more thing over here, that instead of explaining the topics which we have seen here, introduction to Sanskrit or Sanskrit mother of all the languages and all the other topics, we will be sending you a PDF, a small PDF with the key points or the important points of these particular topics every day from day after tomorrow, which will help you to understand those topics. This is because we will be focusing more on spoken Sanskrit. What all we will be seeing in spoken Sanskrit is how can one introduce herself, himself, nouns in Sanskrit, pronouns, verbs, cases, basic sentence formation, vocabulary, conjunctions, name of the weeks and months, numbers, time, etc. And one more important thing is, every day we will be seeing a shloka and its correct pronunciation. And as today is the first day, and it's our parampara that we start it with a Guru Stuti. So that is why I have taken the first shloka as Guru Brahma. So we'll see the correct pronunciation of this shloka and go ahead. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo, Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Now, the most common mistake which we all make intentionally, unintentionally, is we say Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. So the correct pronunciation is Gurave Namaha. This is our first shloka. And things to be noted is questions will be asked while spoken Sanskrit by calling out the serial numbers which we have already provided you yesterday, and the concepts will be taught mainly in Sanskrit, and if need be they will be explained in Hindi, English, Gujarati also. Okay, so let's come to our topic, introduction to Sanskrit language and its literature. Now, Sanskrit as a language, when we talk, as we know, it is an ancient language. So now, if we see what is Sanskrit, it is said, Parishuddham Vyakaranadi Dosha Rahitam Tat Sanskritam. The one which is pure and which which doesn't have any any grammatical errors is known as Sanskrit. So Sanskrit grammar plays a very important role in this, and why it is known as Parishuddham Vyakaranadi Dosha Rahitam. The reason behind it is because the grammar is the grammar Sanskrit grammar is very systematic, is in a very systematic format, and it has no other versions. That is, there is nothing which has changed. What is changed is just the simplification of languages is done, but the grammar hasn't changed from thousands of years. So it is known as Parishuddham Vyakaranadi Dosha Rahitam Tat Sanskritam. Okay. Now, linguistically, if we talk about linguistics, that is the science of languages, there are 14 language families, and in these 14 language families, one of the family is Indo-European language family. So Indo-European language family has 555 different languages, which cover all the languages like Sanskrit, or let's talk about German, English. All these languages are covered in this language family mainly. The similar languages to Sanskrit are Greek, Latin, Persian. These three languages mainly are very they go very parallelly, or they are similar to Sanskrit. They are as ancient as Sanskrit. Or there are many references where we can see that these languages are going parallelly. Say in shastras like dramatics, there are many similarities in these three languages. After that, when we talk about daughter languages, those are Hindi, Marathi, Bengali, Gujarati, etc. These languages are directly from Sanskrit. So many a times we tell or we listen to others that Sanskrit is the mother of all the languages, but the main thing is Sanskrit is the mother language of these languages, that is Hindi, Marathi, Bengali, Gujarati, etc. North Indian languages mainly are directly from Sanskrit. That doesn't mean that other languages don't have Sanskrit words, or they are not from Sanskrit. Yes, they have an impact of Sanskrit on it, but they are not directly from Sanskrit. So these languages include all the other languages from the Indo-European language family, including German also. While we talk about the other Indian languages, that is the South Indian languages, these languages have most of the Sanskrit words in it. So there is a very deep impact of Sanskrit in all the languages included in Indo-European languages. One more interesting thing about this is while we talk about German language, the German grammar is very similar to Sanskrit grammar. There are very similar things in both the languages, Sanskrit as well as German. So yes, it is very when one knows Sanskrit. Yes, to understand a German grammar, it's very easy. So this is one of the beauty of Sanskrit language. Going further, when we talk about grammar, that is we remember a word, grammarian Panini. So Panini, his time period is said to be between 4th and 6th century BC, and he was a grammarian, and he is the pioneer of grammar in Sanskrit when we talk. So he has written a book named Ashtadhyayi. Ashtadhyayi itself means Ashta Adhyay, which has 8 adhyayas, 8 chapters, and those 8 chapters again have 4 parts in it. Each chapter has 4 sub chapters in it. So this is why it is known as Ashtadhyayi. And one more beautiful thing about this Sanskrit or this grammar is it has 3,998 sutras, which we can call as formulas based on the Maheshwara sutras. What are the Maheshwara Sutras? So if you can see here down, vowels and consonants. So he has arranged these vowels and consonants in a very different way than the other languages we see. Maybe it may be Hindi, or it may be Marathi or Gujarati, any language. We have it in a proper manner, that is A, E, or K, Kh, G, Gh. But in Sanskrit, while we talk about grammar, Panini has given us formulas, which we call sutras, which we call them as sutras in Sanskrit. So he has arranged these according to the grammar, according to the formulas, and those are I, un, rul, ruk, a, ong, I, ouch, etc. And according to these Maheshwara Sutranis, he has written all the 3,998 sutras, which act as formulas. So, for to give an example, while we talk about maths, or while we talk about science, basically physics or chemistry, we have different formulas uh, uh, on uh, on the basis of which we can calculate something, especially in maths. So the same way, to know the how the word is made, how a particular word has been made, we use the grammarians, Sanskrit grammarians use this Panini. Uh, they use Paninian grammar to know that. So this is a very interesting thing in Sanskrit. And also one more interesting thing is these are used for coding also. This grammar is the most ancient available grammar we have it now. Yes, we had other types of grammar also, Indra Vyakaran, etc. But then, yes, after all those, Panini has written this grammar which has no errors, and this is a very, very, very scientific and systematic way of a language. Okay, now coming to Vedic and classical Sanskrit. So when we talk about Vedic Sanskrit, it is a bit different. We can say it as it is difficult to understand Vedas now. So when someone of us who knows only classical Sanskrit and goes to Vedas and tries to read them, we can't we can read it at a time, but we can't understand it, just because the language was a bit more ancient. And now the language which we have, which we call classical Sanskrit or Abhijat Sanskrit, which starts after Vedas, that is from Ramayana to now also we use Abhijat or classical Sanskrit. Now this means that the Vedic Sanskrit or Vedic Prachin Vedic Bhasha, ancient Sanskrit language, was also a very good language and full of vocab, but it was very difficult to understand. The grammatical concepts were a bit different, but not completely different than what we use in classical one. And Vedic Sanskrit is also known as Vaidiki or Chandas. And when we talk about the difference in Vedic Sanskrit and classical Sanskrit, is the basic point is grammar. Yes, grammar was a bit different. The tenses were a bit different from what we use now, but it was exactly as it was exactly according to the grammar. Okay, and when we talk about why Sanskrit, so Sanskrit gives why should we learn Sanskrit? So it is a reflection of culture, starting from the Vedas itself. There are a lot of cultural aspects in Vedas, which we can see, which we know, and which we follow now also. The second thing is the most important thing, and which I am experiencing personally, is language skills. Yes, Sanskrit gives you language skills, not only a single language, but it gives you the skills of learning the other languages also, especially the daughter languages. The which we saw is Hindi, Marathi, Gujarati, Bengali, etc., and also other languages which are in the Indo-European languages. So as I gave you an example of German also. So for an example, if I say in Sanskrit, when I want to say 13 number, so I'll say Trayodasha. The same way, if I want to say 13 in German, I'll tell it as 13. The pattern is same as in Sanskrit. Or when we talk about cases also, which we'll see further in the upcoming days, the cases are also similar. The uses of cases are also very similar. So this is what makes Sanskrit a language to be learned. Uh, and one more important thing for all of us is it acts as a primary source for many fields. While we talk about a primary source, it is mainly connected to research. So while we write a research article, or while we write a research thesis, we need to get the information from the primary sources. So what are the primary sources? We get the primary sources from Sanskrit also. So what are these primary sources? So for when we talk about dramatics, or when we talk about literature, we can totally rely on Natya Shastram by Bharat Muni. This is also a Sanskrit text written by Bharat Muni on dramatics. So it has all the aspects of literature and dramatics both, which helps us to find out a primary source of that particular thing. And it is a very important and useful thing. And most the beauty of Sanskrit lies in shlokas. What I feel, or what I always feel is, so while I see the shlokas, everything is written in the form of shlokas. And while trying to just understand the meaning of it, we come to know a lot of new words and grammatical concepts, and a lot of information more than what we search for. So this is why we should learn Sanskrit. Now, next, coming to Sanskrit literature, the first thing which we remember, or first thing which comes in our mind, is Vedas. So the world's first book, which we say, is Rig Veda Samhita. Its time period is said to be 2500 to 3000 BC. While talking about the time period, yes, we have different opinion. There are different opinions from different Indian scholars as well as Western scholars. While we talk about Indian scholars, we have Tirak ji, and while we talk about Western scholars, we have Max Muller, and we have Jacobi, etc. So these all have reviewed the Rig Veda, and they have different opinions about the time period. But then, yes, it is also defined between 2500 to 3000 BC. The first Veda which we talked about is Rig Veda. The second is Yajur Veda. The third one is Sam Veda, and the fourth is Atharva Veda. So now, while talking about these Vedas, it is a very systematic way in which these are named as first, second, third, and fourth Veda. So the first one is Rig Veda. While we talk about Rig Vedas, this has prayers basically for various deities. So the main deities which are referred over here are Agni, Indra, Vayu, etc. And it basically focuses on what we say uh, nirguna prayers, what we say. So Rig Veda is basically about the स्तुतिस, what we can say in हिंदी, ये स्तुति के हमें इस ऋग्वेद में हमें स्तुति देखने, बहुत सारी स्तुतियां जो हम अलग अलग देवों को कर रहे हैं, जैसे अग्नि है, इंद्र है, वायु है, वरुण है, इन सारे देवताओं को स्तुति हम ऋग्वेद में देख पाते हैं. द सेकेंड वन इज यजुर्वेदा. यजुर्वेदा, आफ्टर ऋग्वेदा comes यजुर्वेदा, because in the first one, Rigveda, we were able to see only stutis. But when we come to Yajurveda, these stutis are done through yajna, through sacrifice. This is what is Yajurveda. It is mainly about what we say Paurohitya or Karma Kand, what we say now is सेक्रीफाइस. जितना भी हम अभी आजकल देखते हैं, यज्ञ जो भी हम देखते हैं या फिर हम सुनते हैं, इट इज ऑल फ्रॉम यजुर्वेदा. सो दिस इज व्हाट इज यजुर्वेदा. नाउ कमिंग टू सामवेदा. सामवेदा इज द ओरिजिन ऑफ म्यूजिक. The peculiarity of the Vedas is now the 75% of the mantras in Samveda are from Rigveda itself, but they are in a form where they can sing it. गेय पद्धति में वो सारे मंत्र यहाँ पे दिए गए हैं. And yes, we can't find a proper rag or anything related directly related to music in Samveda, but yes, it is the origin of music. The last one is Atharva Veda, the fourth one. This is the mixture of too many things. That is, it has the mantras related to Aushadha, to medicine, and also Tantra, what we say. It is also found in Atharva Veda. So this is how we see the Vedas. The first one, as I told, is Rig Veda. It is about the prayers to the to various deities. The second one is Yajurveda. While we talk about Yajurveda, it is about the sacrifices, related to various deities, which also has a Phala Shruti, that after doing this sacrifice, we'll get this, or for ये प्राप्त करने के लिए या कोई भी एक चीज प्राप्त करने के लिए जब हम कुछ करते हैं तो हम यज्ञ करते हैं. द थर्ड वन इज सामवेदा, विच इज द origin of music, and the last one is Atharva Veda, which has multiple things in it, including mantras for medicines and the Tantra Vidya also. Now, while talking about the structure of Vedas, which we saw is, this is also a very scientific thing to know. The first one is Samhita. Samhita, which means the collection of ruchas, collection of mantra. So Samhita is what we saw is Rig Veda. For example, if we talk about Rig Veda, so the Samhita, Rig Veda, जो मंत्र है उसके, we call it as Samhita. After that, Brahmana is the application of those mantras. So the first one is Samhita. It's about prayers, but how to apply those, it is explained in Brahmana Granthas. The third one is Aranyakas. Aranyakas is again a philosophy of those mantras, of Samhitas. The philosophy of those mantras is Aranyaka. And the most interesting part here is Upanishad. So what are Upanishads, which we know? Example, Ishavasya Upanishad, or we have 108 important Upanishads. So what are Upanishads? The philosophy of the whole Samhita. So if we talk about if we talk about Yajurveda, in Yajurveda we have the last adhyay, the last chapter of Yajurveda, Shukla Yajurveda, is Ishavasya Upanishad. And one more thing about Yajurveda is divided is in it is of two types. The first one is Shukla Yajurveda, and the second one is Krishna Yajurveda. Both of these types are used in various states of our country. Some of them reside Krishna Yajurveda, some of them do Shukla Yajurveda. So while talking about Shukla Yajurveda, Upanishads, these are the last adhyaya of Shukla Yajurveda is Ishavasya. 40th chapter is about Ishavasya Upanishad. So it has only 17 mantras which describe the philosophy of the whole Shukla Yajurveda. So this is what is Upanishad, the philosophy of that particular Samhita. And the last one is Vedanga, a support to learn all of the above. Vedanga has 6 of it. Vedangas has 6 of it, and these are this include grammar or Jyotish also. Now coming to Ramayan, after the Vedic literature, we come to the classical literature, which basically starts from Ramayan. The time starting from Ramayan comes Mahabharat, Puran, Kavya, and Shastras. So Ramayanam, as we know, is about the story of the Akhyan of Rama, the Krishna avatar, and one of the avatars of Vishnu Bhagwan. And okay, so रामायण हम सबको पता है कि श्री राम की कथा है, विष्णु भगवान के एक अवतार की कथा है, एज वी ऑल नो. सो रामायण में सिर्फ कथा ही नहीं है, पर उसमें तत्वज्ञान भी है. वी हैव फिलोसॉफी आल्सो इन रामायण. नेक्स्ट कमिंग टू महाभारत. Mahabharata, as we know, is a vast book. It's a vast poem, what we say. Also, one more thing about Ramayana is it is a Arsha Kavya, the very first poem, and the first shloka was written in Ramayana. The first poem was written in the classical Sanskrit was written. Was the Ramayana. And the second one is Mahabharatam, which we were talking about. It is a very vast poem. It is a very vast book which has 18 parvas, 18 chapters, which are again divided into different sub chapters, and which has 1 lakh shlokas. So one more name for Mahabharatam is Shata Sahasri Samhita. Shata Sahasri itself means 1 lakh. Samhita is a collection of 1 lakh shlokas. That is Mahabharatam. And Mahabharatam has philosophy in it, which we can see in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, which is written in 18 adhyayas, and also, and we can also see many small other stories. हम और भी उसमें बहुत सारी छोटी छोटी कहानियां देख सकते हैं, जिसे हम आख्यान कहते हैं. अगर वो नल दमयंती हो या फिर और भी अलग अलग आख्यान, जो जहाँ से संस्कृत साहित्य में बाकी के जो नाटक है, काव्य है, ये सब कुछ हम वहां से देख सकते. हमें वहां से द प्राइमरी सोर्स फॉर दोज काव्यास इज महाभारतम or Ramayanam also. There are many dramas, and there are many dramas which are based on Ramayanam and Mahabharatam also. So these two are the ancient काव्यास. ये दोनों भी आर्ष काव्य कहे जाते हैं. हमारी संस्कृत के ये 2 आर्ष काव्य कहे जाते हैं, और इन दोनों में भी ये दोनों भी एक प्राइमरी सोर्स है. These are the primary sources for the Sanskrit literature that we see now. The next we come is Puranani. Puranani, we have 18 main Puranas. 18 पुराण है, और इन 18 पुराणों में भी अलग अलग देवताओं के बारे में कहा गया है. There are different deities which are described in these Puranas. So the most सबसे ज्यादा जिन देवता के बारे में पुराण है वो है श्री कृष्ण, और वी हैव इट ऑन देवी ऑल्सो, देवी जैसे मार्कंडेय पुराण है, बाकी हम सबको जो पता है श्रीमद् भागवत पुराण है। ऐसे बहुत सारे पुराण हैं जिसमें देवताओं के बारे में कहा गया है, उनका चरित्र या फिर उनका उनका जो अवतार है उसकी कथा इत्यादि इन सब में कहा गया है। पुराणों के बाद एक काव्यानी काव्यास, जो काव्यास है वो गद्य और पद्य है। सो गद्य में आ जाते हैं सारे कादंबरी इत्यादि, जो प्रोज व्हाट वी से इज गद्य इज। और इसमें बहुत सारे अलग अलग काव्य आते हैं जैसे कादंबरी। और जब हम पद्य के बारे में बात करते हैं, वी हैव काव्यास लाइक वी हैव many different kavyas, and these are the source of these kavyas lies in Ramayana, Mahabharat or Puranani also, but basically from Ramayanam and Mahabharatam there are many dramas, many proses and poetries which are based on Ramayanam and Mahabharatam. And when we talk about the authors of these kavyas, so the first one we remember is Kalidasa, so who has written 7 different kavyas, dramas, etc. Abhignana Shakuntalam, one of his very popular drama, and which is also translated in many other languages than Sanskrit. There are many dramas which are performed in other languages, that is in English also, in Marathi also, about regarding Abhignan Shakuntalam. Also, Meghadutam is a very famous kavya, what we say. This is also written by Kalidasa, one of the very famous poet we all know. There are many. It is translated. Those shlokas, those padyas are translated in English also, in Hindi also, in Marathi also, and these are presented as dramas in front of all of us. And the last one which we are going to talk is Shastranis, sciences. So while we come to sciences, when we talked about why Sanskrit, so it acts as a primary source. So how does it actually act as a primary source? So it's like there are many streams with which we can connect Sanskrit to is. The first one we will see is Natya Shastram, that is dramatics. As I told you before also, it is written by Bharat Muni, and there are many the basic concepts of dramatics, starting from the way how a stage should be, the rules of the same, or the जो मुख्य रस होते हैं वो, या फिर उसके जो भाव होते हैं, the various sentiments which we say, और उसके जो दूसरे अलग अलग भाव होते हैं, वो सारे भाव kavya should be written. The rules of those kavyas, what all should it have? If you are writing a kavya, then it should have these particular things. Or if you are writing a mahakavya, you should have these things. What we say लक्षण, उसकी जो लक्षण होते हैं, या पंच लक्षणानि, 5 लक्षण, महाकाव्य के 10 लक्षण बताइए, या महाकाव्य के 5 लक्षण बताइए. So all of these is written in साहित्य शास्त्र. Ayurveda, the most which we all know is Ayurveda. The basic, the primary source of Ayurveda, as we talked before, is yes, Atharva Veda. And on the basis of Atharva Veda, Sushrut has written a book which is known as Sushrut Samhita, and he has explained all the minute things regarding medicines. say it be medicines, or it may be the various surgeries which we see now. All those things, shalya kriya, all those things are explained in detail in Ayurveda, in the books related to Ayurveda. The next one is Smruti Granthaha. So these Smruti Granthas are and the example for this is Dr. Ambedkar has written the Act of Marriage on the basis of one of the Smruti Granthas, which is Manusmruti. He has yeah so he has written the Hindu Marriage Act on the basis of Manusmruti. So coming to Sthapatya Shastram, that is architecture. So while we talk about architecture, one more very famous thing for now is Vastu Shastra. So which deals with in which direction uh, should I बिल्ड माई हाउस, और कौन सी दिशा में मेरे घर का दरवाजा द्वार होना चाहिए, या फिर कौन सी दिशा में ये. सो what basically स्थापत्य शास्त्रम और वास्तु शास्त्र is, there are many texts which not only talks about कौन सी सही दिशा है, कौन सी दिशा में क्या होना चाहिए, बट yes ये उन चीजों के बारे में बात करता है कि एक घर कैसा होना चाहिए, या फिर एक नगर कैसा होना चाहिए, या फिर एक जो ब्रिक होती है वो भी कैसे बनती है, या फिर अगर हमें इतने
Uh, just wait for a minute. There is some problem with network connection of Sanita ji. She'll be online just within 2 minutes. Just a minute. Yes, she'll be getting back in just 1 minute. Please hold for a minute and she'll come back. Uh, I hope we are getting the basics. This is the very introductory class where we are just learning about the um introduction of how Sanskrit is uh, important to us, how the old text mostly has been in Sanskrit itself, and due to some network aberrations, there's some problem with her. She'll be back online in just another couple of minutes. Please bear with us.
Hello. Am I audible, Anshul ji?
Yes, ma'am, audible.
Yes, you are audible, ma'am.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay. So we were talking about the Shastras, and the last one was linguistics. What I was telling is, so when we talk about linguistics, there are many Sanskrit books as shikshas, which talk about the phonetics, which talk about Sanskrit phonetics. So these are also useful for research purpose. So yeah, this was what we were going to see about Sanskrit as a language and its literature. Yeah. Anshulji, can you just tell me the questions?
okay. Is Lekha Pariwal ji is asking, is Vastu Shastra same as Sthapatya Shastra?
It is a part of Sthapatya Shastra.
Okay.
Yeah.
And previous questions. Ravi Ranjan ji has mentioned, he has commented on Max Muller, 1500 to 1000 by Max Muller, Indologist. I do not understand the question,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
yeah. So these are the questions which we have now. In case there will be any
Okay.
other questions, I'll ping you in between.
Yes.
Yeah, you
Yes.
can go ahead.
Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
So the topic Sanskrit as a language and literature, we are done with it. And if there are any more, yeah. So I think we have one more question.
Anurag ji has posted a question.
Yeah.
How does Agam Shastra relate to these Shastras? Is it followed only in a part of India?
Yeah. Agama Shastra is followed in a part of India. Yes, that's right. It is related to. Just a minute. Yeah. So it is related to the Shastras. The exact reference for this. Is it okay if I give it to you tomorrow, sir? Yeah. Yeah. So there is a one more question. How to pronounce Maheshwara Sutras? So yes, as this is a basic course, we are not going to go to Maheshwara Sutras. But if it's about how to pronounce it, I'll just pronounce it once. It is something like a tongue twister for us. I'll just pronounce it once. For vowels, we pronounce it as I, un, rul, ruk, a, ong, I, ouch, hayavarat, learn, yamangananam, jabhai, gadhadash, jabagadadash, kha, pha, cha, tha, tha, chatatau, kapai, shashasar, and hal. This is the way we pronounce Maheshwara Sutras. And to understand it, we need to go deep. So we are not going to do it at least for this course. Yeah. Yes, Anshulji.
Ma'am, Indu Malik ji
Yes.
is asking, I could not hear Arthashastram. Could you please
Yeah.
again give idea?
Yeah, sure. So while talking about Arthashastram, it's about economics, and yes, we can use Arthashastram, the concepts of Arthashastram, while we decide the budget for the year. This is how we can use Arthashastram. While talking about Surya Purana, no, it doesn't exist in the main 18 Puranas. Yes, it is a Purana, but it is written after many years after the main Purana, so it can't be considered as a main Purana, as we consider the other 18 Puranas. Any more questions? Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. We'll send the copy of the PPT presented. Yeah. So yes, Ravi Ranjan ji, there are many sub Puranas. There are several sub Puranas, in fact, but there is we don't have any exact number because many of them are written uh, in the recent 25-30 years. So these can't consider to be the authentic ones. Yeah. So yeah, after the course, we can read basic Sanskrit, not the dramas, etc. But yes, we can read Sanskrit. Purana and Parayana, no, they both aren't same. Yeah, so yeah, Prashantji, the difference between ancient and classical Vasha, when we talk about it, is ancient is with a lot of, it's a different set of vocab or different set of grammar used over there, and it's difficult for us to read and understand it. And also when we talk about classical language, it is a simplified language. It is not totally different, or but it is a simplified one. संस्कृत का शब्दार्थ एक तो जैसे हमने सबसे पहले उसकी परिभाषा देखी, वैसे परिशुद्धम व्याकरणादि दोष रहितम तत् संस्कृतम, ऐसा भी हम कहते हैं कि जो शुद्ध है और जो व्याकरण आदि दोष से रहित है उसे हम संस्कृत कहते हैं। और सम्यक कृतम इति संस्कृतम, ऐसा भी हम कहते हैं, जो अच्छी तरह से कही गई है वो संस्कृत है, वैसा भी हम कह सकते हैं। अच्छी तरह से मतलब क्या, वो वही जो हमने पहले देखा, परिशुद्धम व्याकरण आदि दोषरम, जो शुद्ध है और वो बाकी के दोषों से रहित है, इसलिए उसे संस्कृत कहते हैं। Yes, Vedas, yes, the copies for Vedas, the printed ones are available with Gita Press, Gorakhpur and many other publications. And yeah, there is a relation between Sanskrit and German language. German is not totally from Sanskrit, but yes, the grammar, when we talk about German grammar or the structure, yes, it is related to Sanskrit. Yeah, Germans get offended, but then yes, there are many German scholars which are working on Sanskrit texts. They are researching on the same.
Yes, Divyarth is doing undergraduate studies in German studies, so he's very aware about the German language.
Yeah.
Ravi Ranjan has asked, ma'am, how can we periodize Vedic period?
We can't have any particular time period for Vedas. as there are many opinions from the Indian as well as Western scholars. But yeah, thank you, Anurag ji. Yes, Persian is a parallel language, as we talked, a similar language to Sanskrit. It is also a very ancient language. It goes with Sanskrit. Will not go to the topic how can we say that, but yes, it is related to Sanskrit. Yes, Anshuji, I think we are done with the questions too.
Uh, so, are we done with the today's course, or do you
Yes,
want to add
yes,
something?
Anshuji. Yes, we are done with today's course.
Okay.
From tomorrow, most probably we'll start with spoken Sanskrit mainly, and the topics
Okay.
which we have given, we'll be sending a Word file or a PDF file for the regarding the same.
Sure, sure. So those who are here with us, I just want to mention one thing, that today was a very introductory class. That's why we were able to complete it within less time. From tomorrow, I think we need be prepared that we'll be going 10 to 15 minutes ahead than the stipulated time. Number one, number two, whatever PPT madam has shared with us, the worksheets which she was talking about, and some word files, we will be sharing you with the same Google group through which I have been sending you the messages. And please stay tuned. And for today, it is done. If there are any other questions, you can mail to thinkindiagj@gmail.com. That is Think India Gujarat, our mail ID. Do follow us on Facebook, Think India Gujarat, Instagram, Twitter, and if there is anything which we need to mention or announce before tomorrow's class, we'll surely mail you and let you know. Till then, tomorrow again, we'll be sending you the same invite through mail by 11:15. I think that will be okay, and 11:20 we'll be. I think by 11:20 all of you will join. We'll start by 11:30. So thank you all for your patience, and thank you for your questions. Thank you, Sanita ji, most
Thank you.
important, for your time, and for such informative session, today's session, which we have just completed. We are very much. Lekha ji, you are asking about which Google group. The emails which you are receiving yesterday in the afternoon, which I had sent, and आज भी मैंने आपको अभी 11:15 बजे एक मैसेज भेजा था. आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट दैट मेल विच यू आर डायरेक्टली रिसीविंग एज अ मेल. वो है, उसमें आपका ईमेल आईडी है. सो दैट्स ओके. एंड उसके अलावा कोई अगर कंफ्यूजन है तो आप लोग मुझसे कॉल करके बात कर सकते हैं. कॉल मी एनी टाइम एंड क्लियर एनी ऑफ द डाउट्स. So thank you everyone once again. Thank you all. Thank you Sanita ji. And please leave the meeting. And tomorrow again, please join at 11:20, and we'll begin sharp at 11:30, and we'll try to cover by 11:45. Thank you so much. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I request you all to kindly leave this meeting because the session has ended and
खाटलो खोटी नो लाया और बार हुआ रो ત્યારે જરૂર પડે કાલ કેવી જઈશ તું બાઈક લઈને બાઈક લઈને જઈશ